welcome to Ashley Eats Healthy Treats, featuring me, Ashley Gerdes. Today I decided that we should do a video based on snacks, because if you're anything like me, you feel like snacks are your life, because I can't tell you how many times I'll go to a store or go out with friends and it's been, 20 minutes since I've eaten and I'm already hungry again. So it's always a good idea for me to have like a little baggie of snacks in my purse. So today we're going to be making some granola and bar nuts. The first one we're going to start with is the granola. So for this recipe it requires 4 cups of oats, half a cup of olive oil, half a cup of maple syrup, and a cup and a half of whatever nut your choice is. I chose to do pecans and walnuts, so I did 1 full cup of pecans and a half a cup of walnuts. You're also going to need a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of vanilla, and half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And after all that is mixed together, you're going to end up using some dried fruit of your choice, so whatever fruit is your preference. I did some dried coconut and some dried cherries and raisins. So we're going to start with our oats, and then we're going to go ahead and add in our teaspoon of salt, our half a teaspoon of cinnamon. You're going to go ahead and add your nuts in. Try not to spill them everywhere. Then we're going to add in the I should probably mix this first, just because you don't want to have like stuck clumps of salt in there. That's no good. So we're going to mix this around for a little bit, and when you feel like it's well combined, then you can add your wet ingredients. You can go ahead and add the maple syrup and the olive oil. Last but certainly not least, the pure vanilla extract. And mix it again. Now once it's all well combined, you're going to put it on a baking sheet, a cookie sheet that has parchment paper on it. And the oven's already going at 350. You're going to cook it for about 20 to 25 minutes depending on your oven. I know everybody's oven's a little bit different. So we've got this pretty well combined and mixed. I'm going to grab our cookie sheet. Already has the parchment paper on it. And we're going to pour this on there best we can. And not drop the bowl, because that would be bad. And then spread it out to get as much of an even layer on the cookie sheet as you possibly can. And once that's all spread out and you feel confident that your granola is as good as it's going to get, go ahead and put it in the oven. Alright, so I just went ahead and took the granola out of the oven. It smells amazing. The whole house smells amazing. Within like 5 minutes into it, your whole house will smell like the holidays. So while that's cooling, because remember it has to cool for about 40 minutes and before you can add the dried fruit to it. So while that's cooling, we're going to make our next recipe, which is our bar nuts. Now for the bar nuts, it calls for 4.5 cups of, your nuts of choice. So I did walnuts, and I did pecans, and I did almonds. And so To that, we're gonna add a tablespoon of olive oil. Alrighty. And we're gonna take a spoon and mix this all together. So you want to make sure that all your nuts look pretty well coated, because if they're not, you're going to end up with, not an as good of a nut. And you don't actually need parchment paper for this because nuts have enough oil in them, and with the added olive oil, it doesn't stick to the pan, so you shouldn't have any problems. So once you feel like that's pretty well coated, we're going to transfer this into our baking sheet. And spread this out. And our oven's already at 350. And these are going to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. Check them because nuts will burn. And once you burn a nut and eat it, it's really hard to get that taste out of your mouth. Alrighty, so for this next part, we're going to make the sauce. The sauce calls for 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, but I can't have brown sugar, so what I do is coconut sugar. It calls for 4 tablespoons of rosemary, roughly chopped. And it calls for another tablespoon of olive oil, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and if you don't like a lot of spice, then just add less. And a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and another tablespoon of maple syrup. And you're going to go ahead and mix this together, and once those nuts come out of the oven, you're going to sprinkle some salt. But while we wait, we'll just mix this and set a timer and just sit there and twiddle our thumbs, because if you're like me, you're very impatient and waiting is not a good time. Alrighty, so the nuts just came out of the oven, so we're going to take them over here and not burn ourselves. And put them in the bowl again. And try not to, spill them all over the place, which I am kind of succeeding. We are now going to add our sauce for the nuts, or coating, whatever you want to call it, glaze. It's to each their own. We're going to add that in and mix it until they're all well combined. It's kind of thick, so it might take a minute for you to actually mix it and get well coated. But you can pretty much eat these right away, except the longer you let them sit, the crunchier they're going to get. So right now they're not quite as crunchy as you probably want your nut to be. So once they're fully cooled, you'll get more of that nut crunch. And so that's all mixed together, so you can eat them now, eat them later. If you're me, you're impatient, you're going to eat them now. Also, our granola, I went ahead and combined our dried fruit in there, so that looks all pretty. So yeah, this is a pretty good day for snacks, and this will probably last me, I don't know, maybe 2 days. Yeah, it goes fast, people. It really does. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something, and have a great day.